Today is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, and this is Read Through the Bible.
And we have an update on our furnace.
Yes, so our new furnace is up and running and keeping us nice and warm.
Thank you, Garth.
Yes.
We didn't have a furnace from Saturday morning. The Lord was gracious to give us a little bit warmer weather. It was above freezing.
That was a huge blessing.
So it wasn't really cold. And our wood-burning stove kept our family room super warm. And a couple electric heaters. We were never really cold.
We were really just fine.
Yeah. Okay, so we are reading today in 1 Chronicles, chapters 27 and 28. And this is just David continuing to establish administratively the nation and how it's going to be as he soon departs the scene.
Yep, so 27 is going to be some military officers.
Yep.
And interesting that it's going to be organized according to the 12 months, and there's going to be an officer over 24,000 soldiers for the month. Mm-hmm. And interesting that back in chapter 25, we were talking about the musicians, and they were organized into 24 lots of 12 people each.
Yep.
So this 12 and 24 is...
Yep. So basically what's happening here, you got 24,000 people being called up a month at a time.
Yeah, they each get 1 month of service.
Yeah, and we were just talking before we started reading just about Israel, who every citizen in Israel needs to serve in the Israeli army. Mm-hmm. I think it's for 2 years. I'm not exactly sure. That could be totally wrong. But similar thing, like you're deployed once a month is sort of the idea of those who are capable of being deployed. So, all right, let's read this about the military deployments, the commanders. Yep.
Okay. This is the number of the people of Israel, the heads of fathers' houses, the commanders of thousands and hundreds, and their officers, who served the king in all matters concerning the divisions that came and went, month after month throughout the year, each division numbering 24,000.
Jashobeam, the son of Zabdiel, was in charge of the first division in the first month. In his division were 24,000. He was a descendant of Perez and was chief over all the commanders. He served for the first month. Dodai, the Ahohite, was in charge of the division of the second month. In his division were 24,000. The third commander for the third month was Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the chief priest. In his division were 24,000. This is Benaiah, like a chief priest who is over militarily. And then he explains, this is the Benaiah who was a mighty man of the 30 and in command of the 30. And Mizabad, his son, was in charge of his division. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was fourth for the fourth month, and his son Zebediah after him, in his division were 24,000. The fifth commander for the fifth month was Shamuth, the Israelite, in his division were 24,000. Sixth for the sixth month was Ira, the son of Ikesh, the Tekoite, in his division were 24,000. Seventh for the seventh month was Helez, the Pelonite, of the sons of Ephraim. In his division were 24,000. Eighth, for the eighth month, was Sibbecai, the Hushathite, of the Zerahites. In his division were 24,000. Ninth, for the ninth month, was Abiezer of Anathoth, a Benjaminite. In his division were 24,000. Tenth, for the 10th month, was Maharai of Netophah, of the Zerahites. In his division were 24,000. 11th, for the 11th month, was Benaiah of Pirathon, of the sons of Ephraim. In his division were 24,000. 12th, for the 12th month, was Heldai, the Nephtophathite of Othniel. In his division were 24,000.
Over the tribes of Israel, for the Reubenites, Eleazar the son of Zikri was chief officer. For the Simeonites, Shephatiah the son of Maacah. For Levi, Hashabiah the son of Kemuel. For Aaron, Zadok. For Judah, Elihu, one of David's brothers. For Issachar, Omri the son of Michael. For Zebulun, Ishmaiah the son of Obadiah. For Naphtali, Jeremoth the son of Azriel. For the Ephraimites, Hoshea the son of Azaziah. For the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joel the son of Pedaiah. For the half-tribe of Manasseh in Gilead, Edo the son of Zechariah. By the way, if you know your sons of Jacob and the tribes, that's what this is going through here. We've had Simeon, Levi, Judah, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, and now we're on Benjamin. And then 22, for Dan, Azarel, the son of Joroham. These were the leaders of the tribes of Israel. David did not count those below 20 years of age, for the Lord had promised to make Israel as many as the stars of heaven. That's back to Genesis promises to Abraham.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Joab, the son of Zeruiah, began to count, but did not finish. Yet wrath came upon Israel for this, for the number was not entered in the Chronicles of the Kings of David, the Chronicles of King David.
Yep. Over the king's treasuries were Asmaveth, the son of Abdiel. These are their accountants. And over the treasuries in the country, in the cities, in the villages, in the towers was Jonathan, the son of Uzziah. And over those who did work on the field for tilling the soil was Ezri, the son of Calub. And over the vineyards was Shimei, the Ramathite. And over the produce of the vineyards for the wine cellars was Zabdi, the Shifmite. And over the olive and sycamore trees in the Shephelah was Ben-Hanan, the Gederite. And over the stores of oil was Joash. Over the herds that pastured in Sharon was Shitrai, the Sharonite. And over the herds of the valleys was Shaphat, the son of Adlai. Over the camels was Obil, the Ishmaelite. He's got charge of the camels. What do you do? I'm in charge of the camels.
Well, look at the next guy.
Yeah, the next guy. Over the donkeys was Jediah, the Meronothite, and over the flocks was Jaziz, the Hagrite. And all these were stewards of King David's property.
Jonathan, David's uncle, was a counselor, being a man of understanding and a scribe. He and Jehiel, the son of Hachmoni, attended the king's sons. Ahithophel was the king's counselor, and Hushai the Archite was the king's friend. Ahithophel was succeeded by Jehoiada the son of Benaiah and Abiathar. Joab was commander of the king's army.
So the ESV just says military divisions, leaders of tribes. I think if you want to use the biblical terminology here, you have commanders, chapter 27, verse 1. In verse 16, you have the chief officers, and then you have them over the king's treasuries. So just those who are stewards of King David's property. So just kind of cataloging just all these people who are in charge overseeing the military things, and then just the tribes and just all of the property of David. Okay, chapter 28 really breaks down right in half. The ESV heading is really good. David's charge to Israel, and then David's charge to Solomon. So basically he's going to give like somewhat of a final address to Israel, to just trust in the Lord, and same with Solomon. Okay, here we go, chapter 28, verse 1. David assembled at Jerusalem all the officials of Israel, the officials of the tribes, the officers of the divisions that serve the king, the commanders of thousands, the commanders of hundreds, the stewards of all the property and livestock of the king and his sons, together with the palace officials, the mighty man, and all the seasoned warriors. There's like a State of the Union address where he's gathering all his leaders, but more than that, his cabinet members and those who administrate the White House, and just everybody that just is together in the administration of King David. And then King David rose to his feet and said, "Hear me, my brothers and my people. I had it in my heart to build a house of rest for the ark of the covenant of the Lord and for the footstool of our God. And I made preparations for building. But God said to me, you may not build a house for my name, for you are a man of war and have shed blood." Some of this is told in 1 Chronicles 17 with the Davidic covenant, but other things are told like in 1 Chronicles 22 about how he's shed blood. He's not going to build it. It says, "Yet the Lord God of Israel chose me from all my father's house to be king over Israel forever. He chose Judah as leader, and in the house of Judah, my father's house, and among my father's sons, he took pleasure in me to make me king over all Israel. And of all my sons, for the Lord has given me many sons, he has chosen Solomon, my son, to sit on the throne of his kingdom of the Lord over Israel. And he said to me, it is Solomon, your son, who shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. I will establish his kingdom forever, if he continues strong in keeping my commandments and my rules as he is today." And that "if" goes to the second half of the chapter.
Right. Yes. And I think it's also very interesting here that it is God who chose the successor who would be king after David.
It's interesting. Even I was talking in a small group this past Sunday with someone about this, that in 1 Chronicles chapter 22, verse 9, God told David what to name his son. Yeah. Solomon, which shalom, which means peace, right? You're going to establish your kingdom, you're going to fight war, you're going to establish peace, and then in a time of peace, Solomon could do this great thing. Verse 8, "Now therefore, in the sight of all Israel, the assembly of the Lord, and in the hearing of our God, observe and seek out all the commandments of the Lord your God, that you may possess this good land and leave it for an inheritance to your children after you forever."
Verse 9, and you, Solomon, my son, know the God of your father and serve him with a whole heart and with a willing mind.
Okay, just right here, application for us, right?
Oh, yeah, huge.
That we ought to serve the Lord with a whole heart and a willing mind. Just completely and willingly, just submitting to the Lord in all things. Yeah.
Well, and then here's why. For the Lord searches all hearts and understands every plan and thought. If you seek him, he will be found by you. But if you forsake him, he will cast you off forever. Be careful now, for the Lord has chosen you to build a house for the sanctuary. Be strong and do it.
Yep. Then David gave Solomon his son the plan of the vestibule of the temple and of its houses, its treasuries, its upper rooms, and its inner chambers, and of the room for the mercy seat, and the plan of all that he had in mind for the court to the house of the Lord, all the surrounding chambers, the treasuries of the house of God, and the treasuries for the dedicated gifts, for the divisions of the priests and of the Levites, and all the work of the service in the house of the Lord, for all the vessels of the service in the house of the Lord, the weight of gold for all golden vessels for each service, the weight of silver vessels for each service, the weight of the golden lampstands and their lamps, the weight of the gold for each lampstand its lamps, the weight of silver for a lampstand its lamps, according to the use of each lampstand in the service, the weight of gold for each table for showbread, the silver and for silver tables, the pure gold for the forks, the basins, and the cups, right? This is one of the references I talked about in my sermon on Sunday. I preached about, shall I not drink the cup? And here's one of those instances where it just refers to a physical cup.
It's a literal cup, yep.
Whatever that is worth. And for the pure gold for the forks, the basins, and the cups, for the golden bowls and the weight of each, for the silver bowls and the weight of each, for the altar of incense made of refined gold and its weight. Also his plan for the golden chariot of the cherubim that spread their wings and covered the ark of the covenant of the Lord. All this he made clear to me in writing from the hand of the Lord, all the work to be done according to the plan. And you were talking earlier about how just David was good at administration, he's old and seasoned, and yet Solomon was kind of younger.
Right. I mean, the fact that David made all these extremely detailed plans and preparations, I think indicated, first of all, how important it was that the temple be made well and made right. But I wonder even if Solomon was young enough and immature enough that David felt like he's got to absolutely micromanage this thing as much as he possibly can. And I think the fact that Solomon asked God in 1 Kings 3 for wisdom might indicate that he knew he needed more wisdom.
Yep.
Also, I think verse 19 is interesting because he says, all this he made clear to me in writing from the hand of the Lord. So these instructions were not just David's ideas, but they were from the Lord.
Yeah, inspired somehow.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. Yeah.
And Solomon was chosen by the Lord.
Yep.
Okay, verse 20. Then David said to Solomon his son, be strong and courageous and do it. Sounds like God's commands to Joshua.
Well, that's what he said in verse 10 as well.
Yep. Do not be afraid and do not be dismayed, for the Lord my God, even my God, is with you. Just like to Joshua.
It is. I got Joshua 1:5 in my margin written here.
Yeah, it's just like it. He will not leave you or forsake you until all the work for the service of the house of the Lord is finished. And behold, the divisions of the priests and the Levites for all the service of the house of God. And with you in all the work will be every willing man who has skill for any kind of service. Also the officers and all the people will be wholly at your command.
Yeah. Boy, when you read this in light of all the Bible and just it reference back to Joshua and conquering, this is a similar sort of call. Solomon, right? Be strong and do it. Nike, just do it.
Yep, and
right?
the Lord is with you, and do not be afraid. Yep. Like the same things.
Yeah. Okay, great. We will see you tomorrow in 1 Chronicles 29, finishing the book of 1 Chronicles.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye.